This is the StoryTrust Media Podcast.
Are AI-generated clips secretly eroding your audience's trust? This is the StoryTrust Media Podcast, Episode 5. Welcome back, and thanks for joining me again this week. I'm Jon Goehring, founder of StoryTrust Media, where we tell your story and help you build your audience's trust. Now, a lot of podcasting, it's all about repurposing content. People are really starting to catch on to that. Have you noticed? And this has been our framework here for a long time, since our founding last year. We talked about the importance of a content creation engine through your podcast. So it's not just a podcast. It doesn't just live on some URL on the internet. No, it's an engine for you to create all sorts of different pieces of content from. The number one piece of content that people like to create out of their podcasts, and it makes sense to do so, I'm all for it too, is clips. Little short video clips. You've seen them. YouTube Shorts has blown up and is now really taking over YouTube because the vast majority of people now are consuming a lot of their YouTube content on their phones. And so shorts are really optimized for that mobile experience. And also you can binge shorts and just scroll through short after short after short because it doesn't feel like any commitment. It's like, oh, what's another minute, right? Or what's another 15 seconds, right? That's why YouTube's really prioritizing YouTube Shorts. So it's now more important than ever to get on that short form video train of the podcasting world. The idea is you share a clip, you share a highlight on a YouTube short, an Instagram reel, Facebook reel, even as a LinkedIn post. Guess what? I do it for this show as well. And if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll likely see little shorts come up from time to time, at least one a week, every single Monday. I promote the podcast and hopefully share something valuable to you. It's a video short. Maybe you even found this full episode from a short that I posted on LinkedIn that directed you to this. I don't know. Maybe you did. And if you did, great, welcome. And in no way am I criticizing video shorts at all right now. However, let me give you a word of caution to you because so many of these podcast recording softwares and, content creation helper thingies are all just AI generated short creation. And while that seems super easy, and it's like, well, AI can do anything, right? It can take the best moments out of your podcast. No problem, right? If I can ask AI to do that, I can extract 5 shorts from my 30-minute episode real quick and then boom, plop them up on YouTube Shorts. Done, right? You could. However, sometimes those AI generated shorts are doing more harm than good and actually eroding your audience's trust rather than building it. Especially as your audience sees so many of these AI created shorts made with, somebody talking during the podcast and there's subtitles up on the bottom, kind of like I create them too. I'm not going to lie. And they see that and they go, well, okay, it's just a little clip that AI made out of their podcast episode. And if you do that too much, it can actually kind of have a boomerang effect where your audience goes, okay, just another one of those, whatever. And it can really sacrifice some quality too, because often when AI makes these shorts, it doesn't really put these sound bites in context. Oftentimes it cuts them off at weird moments. So if you just set it and forget it, you just say, hey, make me 5 shorts, boom, 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 download, upload, we're done. You could actually be doing more harm than good in the name of content creation. And you say, John, will you tell me to do all these things? You tell me to repurpose my podcast. It should be a content creation engine, right? I should make countless amount of content from your podcast. Scale it back just a little bit. Okay. Sometimes quality is better than quantity. That's why I create one well thought out video short from each episode and post it on Monday. I don't take 13. I don't just take what AI gives me. Oh, well, this sounded like a good clip. Maybe I'll put that up there. It kind of looks sloppy. And, I don't really finish a complete thought, but, whatever. It's content, right? It's content from my podcast. It's supposed to be easy, right? It's supposed to be efficient. Don't mistake efficient for sloppy. Within efficiency, it still requires quality, right? And that's where AI can help, but it can't just take over. So here's the solution, okay? When it comes to video shorts, You can use AI. I'm not saying that you got to go through and watch the whole episode and find that perfect spot to manually clip out the short. I'm not saying that, although you could, and I certainly commend you if you do. But the biggest thing in podcast editing, okay, and this is kind of the secret to it all, if you're just getting into the world of podcast editing, one of the biggest things to do right off the bat when you get an episode is always get the transcript. Always, always, always get the transcript. You can do this with many different services, right? And you can get an AI to create you a transcript of a file. In fact, if you got like the upgraded GPT or Gemini or whatever, you can even upload a file normally and it'll give you a TXT file of a transcript, basically just a document with a transcript. Once you do that, you can put that into AI. And shockingly, AI is a lot better at creating highlight clip moments out of transcripts, out of text, than it is out of video, which is interesting to me. But that's what I've found. And so it is okay to go in and with AI kind of massage the wording back and forth, making sure that you're completing the full thought, that it has a really good hook. But when you just upload something to your podcast editor or take the auto clips that Riverside made for you after the show, you're really risking the quality there. So what I suggest is just take that extra step. Yes, still utilize AI, but don't just blindly follow it. And how you do that is you get the transcript, you copy and paste a transcript into an AI that you know have some sort of trust for, and you massage it, you work with it, you ask for certain clips that have certain hooks, and you kind of go back and forth. You use AI as your assistant, not as just your flat out do it for me kind of cop out, right? So that's the key with clips, and three keys, especially when it comes to clips, and these are very, very important. All right, what you're looking for in a clip, you're really looking for that good hook, because that's what's going to stop the scroll. People usually don't look at your content for more than 2 seconds. In fact, if you actually take some time to dive into like time spent viewing or time spent listening, especially on your YouTube shorts or your Facebook reels, it's humbling. Okay. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? In fact, the first time I did this up on Facebook, and it was, through advertising, and you see kind of your chart and when people are dropping off, and I was like, why is this so horrible? What am I doing wrong? And then I kind of asked AI and was looking for some help with that, and the reality was that I didn't even realize I was actually doing pretty good on that particular piece of content. The average time that people were watching the video for was 6.5 seconds. And I thought, that's so short. It's like a 30-second video. That's actually pretty good, which is shocking. So it's a little bit humbling when you look at that, but it just underscores that need for that catchy hook, whether it's controversial, whether it's just a bold statement, just something that resonates with people. It's real. It's a story. There's emotion shown in that. People are craving that human connection. That's what you want in that first couple of seconds. No, not some intro sentence and we'll get to the meat of the content in 5 or 10 seconds. No, you don't have 5 or 10 seconds. Don't bury the lead, right? Make sure that hook is front and center to stop the scroll. And oftentimes AI generated clips don't do that. They don't do that. They start at the beginning of a paragraph because they think, well, it's just a natural place to start, right? But AI doesn't understand fully how to extract clips. Now it might get better. It might, but for now, that's what I'm seeing. And I do a lot of this. So you can trust me on that. So that's the key number one, is making sure that it has that strong hook. Key number 2 to finding that right short is make sure it completes the thought. You've probably seen this, and these are usually those AI generated short clips that you see on social media. Is it starts and somebody either gets cut off mid sentence, or maybe they finish a sentence but the thought still isn't completed, and you're like, okay, that didn't get me what I wanted. And some podcasters say, well, that's good because then they'll go check out the episode. They're not going to check out a 30-minute episode to get the rest of the 1 point in minute, 18 that you just happen to put out there. That people just don't care enough to do that. You don't want to leave a cliffhanger on a short clip. You want to finish a complete thought. You want to give them a taste of the value that they're going to get while watching the podcast. Say you're putting on a comedy show, right? And you're dropping little clips to promote your comedy show. You don't want to drop half of a joke. You don't want to drop a clip that goes up to the very edge of the punchline but doesn't deliver the punchline. No, people say, well, sure you do, because it's cliffhanger, right? Like they're going to stick around. They're going to tune into the episode or come buy tickets to the show so that they can hear the punchline because, well, now they're hooked. You're giving yourself way too much credit as some irresistible content creator that somebody just can't possibly stay away from, and they need the end. So they're going to go to great lengths to get the end. The reality is people just aren't, because there's so many content options out there. What do you do instead if you're promoting a comedy show? Well, you tell the complete joke. You finish the thought. And people go, ha, that's funny. Let me go get more of that. Let me go get more of that comedy at the show. Or if it's a comedy podcast, let me go listen to that. There's probably other, funny things in that podcast because, that was funny. Again, you're building a relationship with those people. You're establishing trust. They now trust you to be funny because you were once on your clip. You don't leave them with a cliffhanger. You complete the thought. And remember, podcasting is really all about providing value to your audience. What value are they going to get from tuning in? And to build that trust and to establish yourself as the value providing entity in the relationship, you really need to finish the thought so that they get the value. You need to finish the thought so that they now associate with you as a value provider to them, to their lives, to their content consumption habits. And you do that by finishing the thought. Do you hold back? No. You put out your best stuff. You don't say, oh, well, I'll just tease it and then they'll want more of it. They won't. They just won't. If it's not good enough, they'll go to something else that is. So that's number 2. Again, just to review number 1, you need that sharp hook that catches their attention, which everybody knows how important that is, right? Number 2, finish the thought. Don't fall for the trap of, well, let me just leave them on a cliffhanger and then they'll come consume the rest of it. That's just not true. And number 3, you're really looking for either clarity or controversy. All right, these are the 2 C's when it comes to clips: clarity and controversy. Option A, your clip really clarifies a certain point. Maybe you're looking for, one of the best ways to improve your lead generation, and your clip is all about clarifying one particular part of that process, right? You can't say much in a 30-second to a minute clip, but you're really looking to clarify that process. Again, something that adds value, something that if they just watched your clip and never actually went to the episode and checked out the full thing, they'd still get some value out of it. And that's a little trust deposit in their mind. They go, I learned that from that person. I learned that from that show or that content creator. So clarify something or create some controversy. It was once said to me, and I hold on to this often: you ain't nobody until somebody hates your guts. It's true, right? It's true. Sometimes all press is better than good press, right? You hear those kinds of phrases all the time. Now, you don't want to stir up controversy just to be controversial, but don't hide what makes the authentic you too. If you have a strong opinion about something and that's what you're sharing on your show, don't hide that. Don't bury that lead. Come out with it and be proud of it. That's what you want. See, people aren't consuming vanilla content, right? Vanilla is a great flavor of ice cream. It's not a good flavor of content. What they're looking for is something that either supports what they believe or maybe challenges it, so that they can either get behind you or they can attack you. Both are good. Again, now I'm not, encouraging you to create controversial content just for the sake of creating controversy. That's why, a lot of people rightfully complain about the media in our world now because of how just so partisan and controversial it is. And I'm not just talking about politics or any of these especially controversial topics. But if you say something so bold that some people don't like you for it, then you're on the right track. So clarify something, or make sure that you're saying something slightly controversial that you authentically believe and share with the rest of your episode. And that's a recipe for a good clip. So again, hook, complete the thought, think clarity or controversy. Those three things are the most important things when it comes to creating good clips for your social media or for YouTube shorts to supplement your podcast. And I'm all for clips. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for clips, and I'm all for AI supporting the creation of those clips. But just be careful, because sometimes just using the AI generated ones can actually erode trust more than it builds trust. You want to be the resource for your audience. You want to be that trusted resource that delivers quality content every time. Not just those AI generated sloppy videos that we see with those really flashy, nice looking subtitles. And don't even get me started on the AI generated B-roll. That's another episode, by the way. We'll get to that. Hopefully today helped you and you took away some good insights when it comes to creating clips out of your podcast videos. Now, if you can't do that, if you don't have time to do that, we understand, because you work a full-time job or you run a full-time business, and it might have nothing to do with creating content. Well, that's what StoryTrust Media is here for. In fact, if you head on over to StoryTrust.media, what you can do is you can schedule a free audit, a free consultation that we offer, 30 minutes. We're going to go through what your content looks like right now, what you want it to look like, who your audience is, as much as we can get to in those 30 minutes, so that we can lay the foundation for you if you're considering starting a podcast for your brand, which, yes, sounds like more work, but could actually be more efficient in your content creation process in the long run. So StoryTrust.media to book that 30-minute consultation. Thanks for checking out the StoryTrust Media Podcast. If you haven't subscribed up on YouTube or over on any of the podcast players that you prefer, give us a follow, hit that subscribe button, and we look forward to continuing to deliver quality weekly content for you and quality weekly video shorts too. I follow my own advice. StoryTrust.media for more info, and thanks for checking out the pod.
Thank you for checking out the StoryTrust Media Podcast. Learn more and get in touch with Jon at StoryTrust.media.